What's up, fam? Real quick before we get into today's episode, I got a good one for you. I'm really excited to share this. I put a lot of thought into this. So let's get started with the question of the day, which is, what are your core principles for your health and fitness journey? Drop a comment down below if you're on YouTube. What is going on, world? Welcome back to another episode of the Plants PRs podcast. The podcast to help you move better, feel better, and in the long run, look a hell of a lot better. My name is Tyler Egan. I am a certified personal trainer, and today I'm going to break down how you can move better, feel better, and look better. Because I want to talk about my principles to maintain. Yes, that's what I'm calling them for now. If you got a better term, feel free to throw it out at me. Because I'm not in love with this one. I'm not set on it. I'm just not that creative when it comes to things like this. So principles to maintain is what we're gonna go with. Principles to maintain. I like the maintain term, like gain and tain. Like, so take maintain and get rid of the main and put gain. So you're always gaining, getting them gains. You know what I mean? Getting them gains. That's the idea there, anyway. So principles to maintain. These are my principles to focus on when it comes to training, like health and fitness. The overall picture, because it's important. Everything matters. It all translates to one another. They're all intertwined. They all have their purpose, and we're gonna get into it today. So let's get started. My 5 principles. Actually, I have. All right, so I'm just gonna level with you guys. I have a couple other names for this written down because I couldn't really just settle on it. Principles to maintain is the one I'm going with, but I also just had 5 principles, which is stupid. The laws of gains. And the last one I'm not gonna say because I don't even know what that word means. I just found it on Google and kind of rolled with it. But these terms, the actual principles themselves are kind of umbrella terms. So there's more to it than just the word itself. So my 5 principles to maintain are your mindset, your nutrition, your mobility, your training, and your discipline. Those are the 5 most important principles when it comes to training, health and fitness, the whole shebang, all of it, health and longevity, because they're all intertwined. Look, I understand most people get into fitness because they want to look better. They want to lose weight for their wedding, or they want to get shredded for summer, or it's always aesthetics. I get it. I totally understand. I'm the type of person that, look, I lift weights and I do all these things because I want to move well, and I want to live to be 115. But I got to tell you guys, I like looking good. I take pride in my appearance. Okay, I carry myself with some kind of respect. So it's not just about looking great, because there's plenty of us out there who like that. I'm one of those people, but it's also about the longevity of it all. That's why there are all of these principles, and that's why there's a lot that falls underneath of them. So let's start off with the first one, which is mindset. Mindset includes things like your goals, understanding why you're doing what you're doing. If I say this a lot in my episodes, but you need to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And when I say that, I don't mean, I just want to lose 50 pounds. No, that's not what I mean at all. That's not what I mean at all. Why do you want to lose 50 pounds? Because you want to look good for somebody on Instagram, or what are some of these dating apps? Tinder, or what else is there? I don't even know. That's how little I pay attention. But do you want to lose that 50 pounds to look better for somebody else? Or do you want to lose it for yourself? Okay? You really need to understand this. You need to understand why you're doing what you're doing. It can't just be to lose weight. Of course. We all want to lose weight. We all want to look good. We all want to be healthier. But why do you want to? Why do you want to? Because if you don't understand why you want to, then it's never going to last. It's never going to last. Once you reach that 50-pound loss goal, you're done. What are you going to do next? Why work out if you already reached your goal? And then it repeats the cycle. You put the weight back on, you want to lose it. You put the weight back on, you want to... It just goes on and on. So figure out why you're doing this. It should be something long-term. Long-term, smaller goals in between, build off the momentum. Things that I like to utilize to work on my mindset, to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, are things like meditation and yoga. Meditation is an interesting thing because to me, it's about getting deep into thought and understanding why I'm feeling and thinking a certain way. It really comes down to understanding myself. Because, this is my opinion at least, I feel like a lot of people go through life not understanding themselves. And that's actually really sad to me. Because I'm just starting to scratch the surface of understanding myself now. And if people go their entire life without even feeling this, and I don't even think I'm there yet, if they go in their entire life without even feeling this, that sucks. That really sucks. To not understand yourself. To not understand why you're doing what you're doing. And that doesn't just have to be when it comes to health and fitness. It can be in life, with your family, your career, your friends, whatever. But understand yourself. Understand why you're doing what you're doing. Don't do it for anybody else. Do it for your fucking self. At the end of the day, if you take care of yourself, others will benefit from it. So as much as you're doing it for yourself, you're going to be doing it for other people as well. It's just a byproduct of it. So understand yourself, understand your goals. Meditation's a great way. Yoga. I find a lot of meditative qualities in yoga. So yoga is another great thing. It also connects you with your body and helps you understand things. Yoga also kind of falls under the mobility umbrella as well for me. But yoga is a good way to ground yourself, to bring yourself into the current moment and just think and feel and understand. So mindset is everything. Because if you don't have the right mindset, none of this will last. The next thing I want to talk about is nutrition. Nutrition is also everything. Actually, every single one of these principles I'm going to bring up is going to be everything because they all matter. They all really do matter. Nutrition is so vital. For starters, and this is something I'm still struggling with. Look, one thing that I don't say enough in the podcast is I do this for others as much as I do it for myself. If I hear myself say something like this, it goes a long way for me. So this is something that I'm still working on because I'm undoing 26 and a half years of whatever you want to call it, brainwashing, whatever. I don't feel like getting into that. But I used to look at food for entertainment or for social gatherings. And it's like, it's not that. Food isn't for that. Food is fuel for us to be able to maintain our busy lifestyles. Let's face it, guys. No matter who you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you live, today's modern age is very time consuming. For one, we suck at managing our time as a collective species, but we just got a lot going on. I mean, the world has moved at a rapid pace because of technology, and we need to stop looking at food as an entertainment thing or as a way to pleasure ourselves and look at it more as a way of fuel. It is fuel for us. It's fuel for our brain. It's fuel for us for energy. It is fuel. So getting a better mindset when it comes to food is important. So you see how those two already interconnect, mindset and nutrition? The other thing is finding foods that work best for you. Nutrition is also about finding out what works best for you. Look, I eat a plant-based diet. It works pretty well for me. Are there some adjustments I can make? Certainly. But overall speaking, I like my diet. I like the foods I eat. I've taken the last 2.5 years to figure them out, and they work well for me. Oatmeal, by the way, fan-fucking-tastic. I recommend it. 10 stars, no matter how you eat it. But finding the foods that work best for you is so important because not only will it make it easier to force, I don't even want to use the word force, but it'll be easier to maintain a proper nutrition protocol because you're eating food you like. You can fit food you like in your macros, whether that be you eating some kind of junk food or not. I am the proponent of not doing that because I think that develops even worse habits. But If that's what works best for you, do that, because it's all about what you can maintain and what makes you happy and what works best for you. So let's look at food as what it is, which is fuel, something that I also need to work on. And let's start working towards finding those foods that work best for us, for the individual, for the person that is following the meal plan. That's why I don't like cookie cutter meal plans. That's why I don't like when people give out meal plans, because what works for them may not work for you. There are certainly foods that it seems like the overwhelming majority of people, hold on, excuse me, sorry, I had a burp. All right, now we're going to hydrate. Another huge part of nutrition. Of course, there are these foods that as it appears to me, the overwhelming majority seem to utilize and enjoy, like sweet potatoes, brown rice, broccoli, etc. While these things exist, you still need to understand what works best for you. Look, I have brown rice in my diet. I have sweet potatoes. I have broccoli. But it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Maybe you don't like broccoli. Maybe you don't like sweet potatoes. I actually like potatoes more than sweet potatoes. So I mix the two of them up. I sometimes go back and forth. Sometimes I do both. Sometimes I do one. It depends on how I'm feeling. As long as you are covering your nutritional basis, getting all the macro and micronutrients you need, because micronutrients are just as important, that also falls underneath of the nutrition umbrella, micro and macronutrients. As long as you're getting all of those and you're eating a diet or a meal plan, however the fuck you want to phrase it these days, as long as you're eating the way that is most enjoyable for you, makes the most sense for you, that works best for you, that's all that matters. Make sure it's real. Make sure it doesn't have a lot of shit in it. Again, my opinions, if you want to include a little tub of ice cream every night, whatever, man, do you. I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't. But figure out what works best for you. The next principle that everybody wants to forget and nobody wants to talk about is mobility. Mobility. Making sure you have adequate flexibility, proper range of motion at your joints, things like foam rolling, stretching, just mobility exercises in general. These things matter. They matter. Everybody wants to focus on doing a 300-pound bench press, or doing a 500-pound deadlift, or doing a heavy hip thrust because they want that booty to grow. Everybody wants the numbers. They want the glory. How about we focus on the things that are going to make us move better? If you can move better, you're going to feel better. You're going to look better. That's why I say it, but you're also going to get stronger. It's a lot easier to add weight to your bench press or your overhead press or your deadlift or your squat if you have adequate mobility. It's much easier. That means your muscles are firing properly. That means you can hit a depth squat. That means you have access to all of the muscles it really takes to do a deadlift. I mean, there's actually a really awesome picture. It's in one of the books I have, but it's also like a meme going around on the internet. Well, I guess it was like a year ago. It was like all of the muscles that are included in a deadlift, and it's like every fucking muscle in your body. Like I'm being serious. It was like literally every single muscle in your body, and if you don't have proper mobility, proper range of motion, good flexibility to get yourself in that good position in the first place, you're never going to access all of these muscles. Because let's take sitting, for example. It's something I talk about a lot. When you sit your ass down, you flex your hips, your glute muscles are turned off. They're not doing a goddamn thing just sitting there, especially if you're not mindful of it. You see how that mindset thing comes back around? If you're not mindful of that, your glutes are turned off. You're just sitting there slouched over in the chair, looking like a slacking from Pokemon. If you know Pokemon, you know what I'm talking about. Granted, in the games, he's always laying around, but I like to think if he was sitting in a chair, he would probably look like a bum. If you take that and you apply it to a movement, you're gonna fuck yourself up. Because you lack the mobility, you lack the range of motion, because you lack the flexibility in certain muscles and certain joints that you need to be able to turn on all the right muscles, to be able to function properly. So mobility matters. Things like yoga, just doing mobility drills, like doing things like foam rolling, stretching, I have all kinds of banded joint mobilization drills, well, that I do. Some I share with my clients, but there's a lot of ways to mobilize joints. If you want someone to really follow for this, if you take this part of this podcast seriously, look up Dr. Kelly Starrett, or look up the Ready State. They should be on like Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. This guy has taught me so much. The second one of his books, that I bought. I think he has like 5. I follow him on YouTube. I read some of his blog posts. Another good one is Dr. Aaron Horschig over at it's called squatuniversity.com. I've read one of his books. Also read a lot of his blog posts. 2 fantastic physical therapists that will help with mobility, range of motion, things to that extent. They matter. I didn't, I just had a friend comment on some of the results I've seen since the beginning of the quarantine for COVID. And I don't think I would have reached these goals. Like, I don't think I would have, I wouldn't look this good. Let's just put it that way. I wouldn't look as good as I think I do if it wasn't for the fact that I gained more mobility in my joints. I gained more flexibility. I started practicing yoga more. I got my fucking mind right. Which led to all of this. It led to what comes next is the training. Because during COVID, I didn't have access to all the machines and all the equipment and all the weights. All I had was a set of 25-pound dumbbells and a set of 10-pound dumbbells and a couple of bands. And I saw progress, the most progress I've ever seen, because I stayed disciplined, I stayed committed, I had mobility, I had my nutrition on point, my mindset was right. My nutrition was on point, so then all they had to do was get my training down. That's it. Well, actually, that's not it, because I have one more principle, which I already kind of alluded to right there, but we'll come back around to that. The training. You got to find out which training routine works best for you when it comes to training splits. Look, maybe you're busy. Maybe you're working 2 jobs, okay? Maybe you can't work out 6 or 7 days a week, so you do like a 2-day full body split. That works. You supplement with some mobility, maybe some yoga when you can throughout the other days. Bada bing, bada boom. That's what works best for you. What I was doing during COVID, because I wasn't really enjoying my training as much because I was so limited, there was nobody around, I was working out in my shitty basement, was I would do 3 full body workouts and 4 days of yoga. Because the full body workouts allowed me to take myself through ranges of motion that I never have gone through. And the yoga allowed me to really access those ranges of motion through the added mobility and flexibility. So it's important to figure out which routine works best for you. Prior to COVID, I was following a upper-lower split with a added arm day. So I would do, like, let's say Monday, Tuesday, upper-lower, Wednesday off, Thursday, Friday, upper-lower, and then Saturday, arm day, Sunday off, and then I would repeat. So that's what I was doing prior to COVID. And that worked best for me then, because I could get up and go to the gym early. So you got to find out what works best for you. You got to find that balance, the balance of mobility and strength training, because they work synergistically together. They work together to make it so that you can see the results you need. But you have to incorporate both. And you have to figure out what works best for you. Honestly, mobility is something you should probably do every day in some shape or form, whether that be through yoga or a mobility routine. Okay? It's something you should probably do every day. But look, I understand not everybody's like me. If you could do it a couple times a week, just do what works best for you. It's all about feeling good. It's all about moving well, because the results will follow from there. But it doesn't happen until you really, really, really understand and implement this last thing, which is discipline. Discipline equals freedom. I've heard that a million times lately, and it couldn't be closer to the truth. Because without discipline, I don't know. I just don't see anything happening. I lacked discipline for so long. And it wasn't until I started to discipline myself that I really started to take things more seriously. That I really started to see results. Because I didn't have excuses. Because I really committed to myself and my goals. For the first time in 3 years, I finally committed to myself, and I started to crush it with 2 25-pound dumbbells and a 10-pound dumbbell. Or 2 2 sets of dumbbells, one of them 25 pounds, one 10 pounds. I didn't start seeing results until I was working with just that, because I finally disciplined myself, because I finally stopped making excuses. So every little principle matters. They all intertwine. Discipline goes right back up to mindset. And mindset plays a role in nutrition just as much as mindset plays a role in mobility, because you can do yoga and do both. For me, yoga helps me work on my mindset and my mobility. Maybe yoga won't do much for you in the mindset aspect. Maybe it'll help you with your mobility. You can find a lot of shit on YouTube when it comes to yoga these days, but you see how all these play a role. You also need a lot of mobility to counteract your training. Because when we're training, we're in the gym, we're lifting heavy weights, we're effectively shortening muscles. Well, we need to pull those muscles out of that effectively shortened state. If we don't do it, the muscles are going to crunch up, they're going to do all kinds of bad things, make our body compensate in ways we don't want to. And then you're left an old mess later down the road who has back pain. I don't want that for me, which is exactly why I started to think about these principles more. They all matter. Look, I want to train. I want to lift heavy ass weights for as long as humanly possible. But in order to do that, I need to have proper nutrition, of course, proper training, but more importantly, proper mobility to help me recover. That's one thing I actually didn't hit on throughout all of this, was there's a bit of recovery in all of this. Recovery is underneath mobility. Recovery is also under nutrition. So they all matter. They're all intertwined. They're all connected. We need to focus on them if you want to see the best results. Again, find out what works best for you, because my nutrition protocol isn't going to be the same as yours. My training program won't be the same as yours. My mobility program won't be the same as yours, but they all matter. We got to find a way to incorporate all of them to fit the individual. So I hope you guys took something from this episode. I actually put a lot of thought into this episode. This is something that has been on my mind for a while, because there needs to be some kind of guidelines, it seems. There needs to be a way to structure yourself when it comes to health and fitness, because everybody only looks at one key principle. Everybody wants to focus on getting their mind right. Well, you can't get your mind right if your nutrition's all over the place, because you're going to be just craving sugary shit all the time. You can't get your mobility right if you don't have discipline. I feel like that one's kind of self-explanatory. Your nutrition will only get you so far if you don't have the proper training. And your training will only get you so far if you don't have the proper mindset. You see how they're all interconnected? They all matter. They all flow together. So I hope you guys took something from this. If you did, please leave a rate and review on iTunes. If you're on YouTube, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think differently than me. Let me know if you think I'm stupid. I don't fucking care. Let me know. Let's have a conversation. Drop a comment down below, and I will check you guys out in the next episode. Peace.